Listen to me, because this might be the moment your entire destiny pivots. There comes a time in every human life when the biggest enemy you're facing is not outsider. It's not the critic, it's not the circumstance. It's you. The negotiations you keep having inside your own head. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment when your spirit says, get up, move, build, speak, create, and your mind whispers back, maybe tomorrow, maybe later, maybe when I feel ready. Yeah, but destiny does not wait for readiness. Greatness has no patience for debate. You must stop negotiating with yourself and just do it, because every negotiation you entertain steals a piece of your future. Let me tell you something powerful. You were not born to live a life of hesitation, doubt, or second guessing. You were born with an assignment, an intention, a purpose. And purpose demands action, not discussion. Some of you have talked about the same dream for 5 years, 10 years, some even 20. You've prayed about it. You've journaled about it. You've watched other people do it. You've even helped others build their dreams. But when it's time to execute your own, suddenly negotiation begins. Should I really start? What if I fail? What will people say? What if I'm not good enough? Let me ask you a question. If you keep negotiating, what future will you have left? You cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. You cannot master what you never begin. And you cannot harvest a life you didn't plant. You're waiting for confidence, but here this clearly confidence does not appear before action. It appears because of action. Stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. If you start only when it's comfortable, you'll start nothing. If you act only when you're motivated, you'll complete nothing. Some of you are standing on the edge of your destiny, but instead of jumping, you're arguing with your potential. Let me make it plain. The longer you negotiate, the smaller your life becomes. Stop telling yourself stories. Stop giving yourself discounts. Stop settling for later. A later is a liar. Someday is a thief. And hesitation is the silent killer of greatness. You have a vision, execute. You have an idea, move. You have a calling, walk toward it. You don't need permission to become who you were created to be. People often ask, how do I break the cycle? I'll tell you. You break the cycle the moment you stop asking your feelings for permission. Your feelings are inconsistent. Your purpose is not. Your feelings are temporary. Your destiny is permanent. Every time you negotiate with yourself, you surrender authority to your emotions, and emotions were never designed to lead your life. Discipline is doing what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. That's maturity. That's purpose. That's leadership. Your life changes when you decide, I will do it, not because I feel ready, but because purpose demands it. Well, hear this. When you move, doors that were invisible begin to appear. When you start, strength you never knew you had begins to rise. When you take action, opportunities start recognizing your name. Some of you are one action away from a new season, one decision away from a new identity, one step away from a new story. But you will never experience it as long as negotiation continues. Your mind is a courtroom, and you've allowed fear to be the judge for too long. Today, remove fear from the bench, put purpose in its place, and pass the verdict, I will not negotiate with myself anymore. When you stop negotiating, your life gains clarity, your spirit gains strength, your vision gains speed. You start doing what you know you've been avoiding. You start building what you've been dreaming of. You start living instead of waiting to live. You weren't created to sit in the waiting room of your own destiny. You were created to walk into the arena of life with boldness, conviction, and intention. You were created to act. So today, not tomorrow, not next month, not next year, today, make a decision that your future self will thank you for. Say it with me in your heart. I'm done negotiating with myself. I'm done delaying my calling. I'm done arguing with my potential. Today, I just do it. Because the world does not respond to your thoughts. It responds to your actions. Stop negotiating. Start executing. Your future is waiting, and it will not wait forever. Just do it. Each key point becomes a living force when you understand how it applies to the battles you fight every single day. Purpose does not negotiate, it demands action. Think about the times you felt a deep pull inside you, a whisper saying, start that business, fix that habit, learn that skill, take that risk. That pull wasn't random. That was purpose calling your name. But the moment you hesitated, the moment you paused to think, your mind started offering discounts. Maybe later, maybe next month, maybe after things get better. Purpose does not wait for perfect timing. It keeps knocking, but the longer you ignore it, the quieter it becomes. Every person who ever did something meaningful didn't wait for clarity. They acted and clarity followed. Imagine someone standing at the bus stop of their own destiny, watching opportunity after opportunity pass, because they keep telling themselves, the next one, I'll catch the next one. But life is not an endless transit. If you don't step onto the bus when the door opens, it won't stay there forever. Purpose is like that open door. Either you enter with courage, or you lose the moment forever. And the worst pain isn't failure, the worst pain is knowing you never even tried. Confidence comes after action, not before. People usually say, when I feel confident, I'll start. But confidence is not a prerequisite, it's a reward. Look at a child learning to ride a bicycle. They don't start confident. They wobble, shake, fall, maybe cry, maybe get scared. But the moment they try again, something inside them grows. Confidence didn't show up to push them. It showed up because they pushed themselves. Adults forget this. They want to start a business but feel unprepared. They want to speak up but fear embarrassment. They want to chase the dream but feel small. Yet confidence is built in the arena, not the sidelines. The first step is never graceful. The second step is rarely perfect. But the third step is better. And by the fifth step, you realize you're walking in strength you never knew you had. Every expert began insecure. Every leader began uncertain. Every master was once a beginner who said, I will act even without confidence. Imagine someone waiting for motivation the way people wait for electricity during a power outage, hoping something external will turn the light on. But real power comes from flipping the switch inside yourself. When you move, you create force. And when you create force, confidence rises like a flame catching oxygen. Every negotiation steals a piece of your destiny. Every time you talk yourself out of progress, you are giving away a slice of your future. Think about a person who sets an alarm for 5 a.m., ready to transform their life, but at 500 the mind says, just sleep 10 more minutes. Those 10 minutes turn into 30, and the day begins in regret instead of victory. Or someone with a brilliant idea who says, I'll start when I have more money, more support, more experience. 5 years pass, and that idea belongs to somebody else who simply started. Negotiation is the invisible thief that wears your voice and steals your future. It doesn't break into your life with force. It convinces you politely to hand over your potential. It speaks softly. You're tired. You've done enough. You deserve a break. Try tomorrow. But tomorrow is a promise that becomes a curse when used as an escape. The most dangerous version of negotiation is the one that feels comfortable. Like when you say, I'll start after the weekend. Then the weekend becomes next week, then next month, and eventually you forget the fire you once had. Your destiny shrinks every time you choose comfort over calling. And one day you wake up realizing that the biggest battles you lost were never against the world. They were against yourself. Discipline is the leader of purpose. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. It is telling yourself, I deserve a life built by intention, not impulse. Every successful person you admire has something in common. They do what needs to be done even when they don't feel like doing it. Think of an athlete waking up at 4 a.m., exhausted, hungry, sore, but still lacing their shoes because the dream is louder than the tiredness. Think of a mother working 2 jobs, but still finding time to teach her child because she refuses to let circumstances define the child's future. Discipline is when you choose the long-term reward over the short-term comfort. It is when you refuse to let your emotions drive the car of your life. Emotions are like weather, unpredictable, temporary, constantly changing. If you live by emotion, your life will always feel unstable. But when you live by discipline, you become unstoppable. You rise when you don't feel like rising. You work when excuses try to pull you back. You focus when distractions try to drown you. You commit even when motivation fades. Discipline says, I don't need to feel ready. I just need to move. And when you move consistently, purpose begins to trust you. Doors start opening. Opportunities start aligning. Your life starts shifting. Because discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you were meant to become. These are not just key points, they are laws. And if you apply them, your entire life, your health, your career, your relationships, your vision begins to elevate beyond negotiation, beyond hesitation, beyond fear. Confidence comes after action, not before. This is one of the greatest truths people ignore while waiting for their life to change. Most people sit on the edge of their dreams, like someone sitting on the edge of a swimming pool, dipping one foot into the water and pulling it back the moment it feels cold. They say, when I feel confident, I'll jump. But confidence is not the water that warms your body before you enter. Confidence is the warmth you feel after you've been brave enough to jump in. Look at your own life. Think about the moments where you felt scared, unsure, unprepared, but you still moved. Maybe it was the first day of school when you walked into a classroom full of strangers. Maybe it was your first job interview, heart pounding, hands sweating, but you went anyway. Maybe it was the moment you stood in front of people to speak, even though your voice was shaking. You didn't feel confident before you began. But the moment you finished, something inside you grew. A voice whispered, "See, you did it." That voice is confidence, and it always arrives after you act. People misunderstand confidence. They treat it like a requirement when it is actually a result. They say, I need confidence to start a business. No, you need courage to start the business. Confidence will show up after your first customer, after your first sale, after your first late night where you didn't quit. They say, I need confidence to improve my life. No, you need action. Confidence follows action the way a shadow follows a body. It cannot lead you. It can only reflect you. Confidence is built in secret moments you think nobody notices. Like the moment you choose to wake up instead of snoozing the alarm. Like the moment you choose to walk into the gym even when your body says no. Like the moment you say, I'll try again, after failing yesterday. Every small action is a brick. Confidence is the house built from those bricks. And the house doesn't appear magically. You build it one small decision at a time. Picture a child learning to walk. They stand, they wobble, they fall. They try again, fall again, cry, then try again. That child is not thinking about confidence. They are acting. And because they act repeatedly, confidence arrives. Eventually, that same child walks without thinking, runs without fear, jumps without hesitation. Imagine if the child said, I will wait until I feel confident before I try to walk again. That child would never stand up. Adults do this every day. They say, I need confidence before I try. And their life never moves beyond the crawling stage. Think of someone who wants to start a YouTube channel but says, I'll start when I'm confident. Meanwhile, another person with half the skill but double the courage starts today. 10 videos later, the second person is confident, growing, improving, while the first person is still negotiating with themselves. Why? Because action beats hesitation every single time. Confidence belongs to the person who begins, not the person who waits. Look at the gym. Everyone wants a strong body, but nobody feels confident on day one. You walk in, you feel awkward, you don't know what to do. You compare yourself to others. Your mind screams, leave. But if you stay, if you lift the weight anyway, if you walk the treadmill anyway, something changes. You feel a spark inside. Not because you were confident, but because you were brave. And bravery is the parent of confidence. Confidence grows when you stop asking your feelings for permission. If you listen to your feelings, you will never start anything meaningful. Feelings will say, you're tired, you're scared, you might fail. And if you obey them, you become a prisoner to your own emotions. But the moment you say, I hear you, but I'm moving anyway, you take back control. That is when confidence begins to form. Confidence is a reward for saying yes to your purpose and no to your excuses. Think about a person learning to drive. The first day, they grip the steering wheel so tight their knuckles go white. Their heart is racing. Every sound scares them. But after a few days, a few attempts, a few mistakes, they drive with one hand on the wheel and music playing. Did confidence come before? No. It came after experience, after action, after doing the thing they were afraid of. Your life is the same. You don't become confident by thinking. You become confident by doing. You don't learn courage by imagining. You learn courage by showing up. You don't grow by waiting. You grow by moving. Confidence is earned, not given. And it's earned through repetition, discomfort, and consistency. When you show up again and again, even when your knees shake, even when your voice trembles, even when doubt screams louder than hope, confidence starts to respect you. It starts trusting you. It starts walking with you. Every person you admire began unsure. Every leader once questioned their worth. Every successful person once whispered, can I really do this? But they acted anyway. And because they acted, they transformed. Confidence will never knock on your door and say, I'm here, let's begin. You must begin without it. And the moment you do, confidence will follow you like a loyal companion. Every negotiation steals a piece of your destiny. People don't realize how dangerous self-negotiation truly is. It doesn't look like failure. It doesn't sound like giving up. It disguises itself as later, tomorrow, when I feel ready, when the time is right. But every one of those excuses is a silent thief pulling small pieces from your future without you even noticing. You don't lose your destiny in one big moment. You lose it in small, comfortable conversations you keep having with yourself. Think about the times you set an alarm with excitement, saying, tomorrow I'll change. Tomorrow I start. But when morning comes, your mind gently whispers, you're tired, sleep a little more. And you agree. That small negotiation seems harmless, but it begins a chain reaction. You start your day by breaking your own promise, and your confidence weakens. You repeat that pattern every morning until it becomes your identity. Not because you lack potential, but because you negotiated it away one sunrise at a time. Imagine someone who wants to start working on their dream body. They buy the shoes, the clothes, the gym membership, the supplements. Motivation is burning. But on the first day, the mind says, you had a long day rest today, begin tomorrow. It won't make a difference. But it does make a difference, because the negotiation becomes easier the next day and the day after that. Before they realize it, months pass, and the mirror still shows the same reflection, not because they lacked ability, but because they surrendered to that soft inner voice that convinces them comfort is more important than becoming who they want to be. Every negotiation is like losing one brick from the foundation of your destiny. Lose enough bricks and the structure falls, not because you lack talent, but because you kept trading your future for temporary comfort. It's like someone owning a piece of land with gold buried beneath it. But they keep saying, I'll dig later, it's too hot today. I'm tired, maybe next season. Meanwhile, someone else, with half their strength and half their resources, digs every day and discovers treasure. Life favors the one who acts, not the one who negotiates. Look at procrastination. People call it a habit, but it's actually self-negotiation dressed as logic. You tell yourself, I work better under pressure, just so you can avoid starting now. You tell yourself, I need to wait for inspiration, because deep down you fear failure. You tell yourself, I'm not ready, because you don't want to face discomfort. Every excuse becomes a thread, and over time, these threads wrap around you like a rope until you're tied to the same spot year after year. Think about a student who has an assignment due in a week. They say, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes 3 days. then 4. And suddenly, the night before the deadline, they're panicking, stressed, overwhelmed, not because the task was impossible, but because negotiation stole 6 days that could have saved them pain. Now imagine that same pattern applied to dreams, goals, purpose. When you negotiate small responsibilities, you eventually negotiate your entire destiny. Look at relationships. Many people know they should walk away from toxic environments, harmful people, or situations that drain their peace. But they negotiate with themselves. Maybe they'll change, maybe it's my fault, maybe I'm expecting too much. And because they negotiate, they stay longer than they should, lose years they can't get back, and weaken the faith they had in themselves. Not because they didn't know better, but because negotiation convinced them to settle for less. Think about someone wanting to start a business. They have an idea burning in their heart. They research, plan, dream, imagine. But when it's time to take the first step, the mind whispers, wait for more money, wait for support, wait for perfect conditions. But perfect conditions don't exist. And while they negotiate, someone else with fewer resources launches the same idea and succeeds. Not because they were better, but because they didn't negotiate with opportunity. Negotiation always feels safe in the moment, but it is the most dangerous trap for your future. It convinces you that waiting is harmless. It convinces you that hesitation is protection. It convinces you that delaying is wisdom. But truly, every delay is a withdrawal from your destiny account. You spend your future in advance without realizing you're running out. Imagine a person standing at the starting line of a race. The gun fires, runners take off, but they stand still thinking, should I run now? Maybe I'll wait and run when everyone else gets tired. But by the time they decide to start, the race is already ending. Life is the same. Your hesitation is someone else's opportunity. Your delay is someone else's breakthrough. The truth is, negotiation feeds fear. Every time you say later, fear gets stronger and faith gets weaker. Every time you say, not now, doubt grows roots. And once fear and doubt become your inner leaders, your destiny becomes a distant possibility instead of a living reality. People lose years, decades, entire lifetimes to negotiations that sounded harmless. I'll start next week. I'll try when I'm ready. I'll do it if things get better. But life doesn't reward the negotiator, it rewards the executor, the one who acts, the one who moves, the one who stops giving the inner voice room to talk them out of greatness. Every negotiation steals a piece of your destiny, and once enough pieces are gone, you no longer recognize the person you were meant to become. You said 4. Discipline is the leader of purpose. Expend THEQI and make it lengthy. In 80-100 wordy that people will inspire from these words. Says from daily life example, don't add any ending sentence. Just chat GPT said, discipline is the leader of purpose. People talk about dreams, passion, motivation, but none of that means anything without discipline, standing at the front, commanding your life like a captain steering a ship. Purpose can show you the destination, but discipline is what actually takes you there. Without discipline, purpose becomes nothing more than a beautiful idea trapped inside a mind that never acted. Every day, life gives you a choice: follow your feelings or follow your purpose. And if you choose feelings, you will always choose the easy road. You will choose comfort. You will choose excuses. You will choose distraction over direction. But if discipline leads the way, you choose what builds you, not what comforts you. That is where transformation begins. Think about a person trying to wake up early. They set the alarm with excitement the night before because purpose spoke to them. Tomorrow we begin. But when morning comes, their body pleads, sleep a little more, you deserve rest, it's cold, just 5 more minutes. This is where most people lose the battle. Not outside, not in the world. Right there in the bed, under the blanket, negotiating with themselves. But discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline says, I know what you feel, but I know what you want more. And that moment, getting up when you don't feel like it, is the birthplace of personal power. Look at athletes. People admire their strength, speed, confidence, and dedication, but few understand the true sacrifice behind their success. While everyone else sleeps, they're training. While others celebrate weekends, they're practicing. While some wait for motivation, they rely on discipline. Because motivation might visit once in a while, but discipline wakes up every day. Discipline is that inner voice that says, we're doing this whether you feel ready or not. That's why athletes aren't shaped on the field. They're shaped in the early mornings, in the lonely hours, in the silent repetitions that nobody sees. Think about someone working 2 jobs to support a family. They come home exhausted, but instead of collapsing, they sit with their child and help with homework. That's discipline, that's purpose leading their steps. They're not doing what's easy. They're doing what must be done because love and responsibility demand it. Discipline speaks louder than fatigue, louder than excuses, louder than circumstances. And even though nobody applauds these moments, they are building a future with every sacrifice made in silence. Look at students preparing for exams. Some start early, plan their study sessions, stay consistent, and review every day. Others wait until the last night, hoping stress will save them. The difference is not intelligence, it's discipline. One student builds confidence because they stayed committed even on days they didn't want to study. The other creates anxiety because they followed their feelings instead of their purpose. Discipline creates peace. Lack of discipline creates panic. Discipline is not punishment. It is a gift you give to your future self. It is choosing long-term success over temporary comfort. It is choosing growth over pleasure. It is choosing focus over distraction. Your phone, your habits, your environment will constantly try to pull you away from your purpose. But discipline pulls you back like a compass that knows exactly where home is. Imagine someone trying to lose weight. They start with excitement, telling everyone their new plan. But on the second week, cravings attack, energy drops, laziness whispers. This is where most people quit. Not because they don't want results, but because they don't want resistance. Discipline is the ability to push through resistance. It's eating clean when junk food calls your name. It's choosing a walk instead of a couch. It's saying no to a momentary pleasure so you can say yes to a lifetime of confidence. Discipline is the invisible shield that protects you from self-sabotage. Think about people who save money. It's easy to say, I want financial freedom, but discipline separates dreamers from achievers. Discipline is choosing to save instead of spending on impulses. Discipline is saying, I don't need this now, because you're building something bigger later. Discipline is not glamorous, but it's powerful. Every dollar saved is a brick in the foundation of your future. Look at someone trying to break a bad habit, whether it's overeating, scrolling endlessly, procrastinating, or surrounding themselves with negative people. Breaking a habit isn't about wanting to change. It's about disciplining yourself to act differently, even when the old habit screams at you like an old friend trying to drag you back. Discipline says, I'm not going backward. I'm choosing who I want to become. And the more you say it, the stronger you become. Discipline turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. It turns dreams into achievements. It turns weakness into strength. The people you admire are not better than you. They are simply more disciplined than you. They exercised when you postponed. They started when you hesitated. They continued when you quit. They didn't wait for motivation. They moved without it. Discipline is the leader of purpose because purpose can inspire you, but discipline transforms you. Purpose can spark the fire, but discipline keeps it burning when life tries to blow it out. Purpose gives you a vision, but discipline builds the road to reach it. Discipline is choosing to act intentionally every single day, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when nobody is cheering for you. Discipline is doing what must be done, because the future you desire is worth the effort you give today. And now hear me clearly, there comes a moment in every person's life where you must stand face to face with the version of yourself you've been avoiding. The version that's been hiding behind excuses, behind fear, behind negotiation, behind the soft, comfortable lies that say, not today, not yet, maybe later. But greatness is not built in later. Destiny is not shaped in someday. Your future does not grow in the soil of hesitation. Your life changes the moment you decide that enough is enough. There is a fire inside you that has been waiting, begging to burn. A voice inside you that has been whispering for years, you are more than this. You are capable of more. You were made for more. And maybe you've silenced that voice because the world told you to stay small, or life pushed you to settle, or fear convinced you that you weren't ready. But listen to me, you have spent enough time shrinking. You have spent enough time watching from the sidelines. You have spent enough time negotiating with your own calling. This is your moment to rise. You may not feel ready. You may not feel confident. You may not feel strong. But strength comes from stepping forward when your legs shake. Confidence comes from acting when your voice trembles. Readiness comes from moving when doubt is screaming. You will never discover the power inside you until you give yourself permission to walk into the unfamiliar. You cannot grow in the place you're comfortable in. Diamonds are not made in comfort. They are made under pressure. Champions are not created in calm. They are created in conflict. And you are in the middle of your making right now. There is a version of you, stronger, wiser, sharper, more disciplined, more focused, waiting on the other side of your excuses. And that version of you is calling your name. It's saying, stand up, move forward, don't think, just act. Because the longer you hesitate, the further your purpose drifts. The longer you negotiate, the smaller your vision becomes. You are not losing time, time is losing you. Every giant leap in history began with a single brave step. Every transformation began with a single decision. Every success story started with the same sentence: I will no longer negotiate with my own potential. Say that to yourself. Say it until your doubt gets tired of fighting you. Say it until your excuses lose their power. Say it until your spirit begins to roar louder than your fear. Life will test you. Your emotions will challenge you. Your circumstances will try to intimidate you. But there is something in you that cannot be defeated. Something that cannot be broken. Something that cannot be silenced. The world hasn't seen your true fire yet. The world hasn't met the version of you that refuses to quit. But they will if you choose today, this moment, this breath as the turning point. Rise into your purpose. Step into your strength. Move into your calling. Tell yourself, I am done waiting. I am done doubting. I am done shrinking. I am done playing small. Remind yourself that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is walking into the storm anyway. Remind yourself that discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the pathway to freedom. Remind yourself that action is not optional. Action is the doorway to destiny. This is your time, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, stand up, straighten your back, lift your chin, and walk into your life with authority. Because the world does not move for the hesitant, it moves for the committed. And from this moment forward, you are no longer negotiating with yourself. You are choosing action. You are choosing courage. You are choosing discipline. You are choosing destiny.